And now, it's time for the Ford Advantage, presented by Maritime Ford, home of the 1% rule.
Maritime Ford, Lincoln Mercury, it's time for Maritime.
Good morning and happy Monday to all of you. Welcome back for another edition of the Ford Advantage. I'm Steve Lawson from Maritime Ford, and today we are going to be discussing the cornerstone of Maritime's pricing policy, our 1% rule. In a nutshell, the 1% rule means that when you show up to buy a new Ford from us, we share with you our factory invoice and then ask for 1% over it. I came up with this policy for several reasons, but let's just start with the real big one. Nobody, and I mean nobody, likes the process of buying a new vehicle. And that's kind of unique in our economy when you think about it. You don't stress about going to the grocery store or buying a new DVD player. Most people would rather spend an hour in the dentist chair than 10 minutes with a salesperson on a car lot. Even buying a new home is more exciting and liberating than buying a new car. Think about it. How often do you hear a person complain about the new home they just bought? And yet I hear people complain all the time about the new vehicle purchases. Dealer A didn't give me enough for my trade. Dealer B was too pushy. Dealer C wouldn't come down on their price. The one that always sticks with me is, I bought this car 5 years ago and I've never liked it. I hear that all the time. There are so many people out there dissatisfied with the vehicle they're driving because at some point in the buying process, they got so fed up, they threw their hands up in the air and said, you know, enough already. Let's just buy the dang thing. And folks, it's been this way and hasn't changed for 100 years. As a society, we are extremely jaded towards car dealers. And I think even more than that, jaded at the process itself. So 3 years ago, I tried to come up with a sales policy that would negate as many of the negatives as possible. And that's how the 1% rule was born. My theory is that if you can take the worst element out of buying a new car, which is the negotiation part of it, and you make that part a given, in other words, set it in stone, then we can all focus on what we should be focusing on, and that's the only thing that matters, finding you a vehicle that suits your needs and makes you proud to be driving it. It's amazing how much easier those things are when you don't have that dark cloud of negotiation hanging over you. So you want to know my cost? Okay, here's our invoice. Now that that's over, let's focus on what really matters, finding you the right vehicle. And while I may be a car dealer, my promise to you is that there isn't a single catch with this pricing policy. You still get every rebate you qualify for subtracted from our 1% price. You still get our family plan oil change program, which gives any member of your household a 10% discount on every oil, lube, and filter change from our service department. You still get free roadside assistance, a free loaner car if you ever need one, and our free shuttle service if you ever have your vehicle in for service and you need to be run home. But most of all, folks, you get peace of mind. Here's why I love the 1% rule. Let's say that you're buying a new vehicle and you're shopping Maritime Ford against another dealer. And let's say that you have a trade-in. Now, most dealers will take the actual cash value of your trade and they'll add that number to the discount they're willing to give you off of MSRP, the sticker price. Okay, let's set this up. You have a new Escape that you're interested in, and it lists for, say, $25,000. With our 1% rule, we would show you a discount off of that $25,000 MSRP down to our 1% rule, and then we'd show you the actual cash value of your trade, and the difference between the 1% over invoice figure and your trade figure is that good old to boot number, ours minus yours. Very straightforward, right? Now, the other dealer you're shopping shows you their MSRP, their full sticker price, and they subtract a, quote, allowance on your trade that includes that discount I was talking about earlier. So now from that dealer, you have two fictitious numbers. The first being MSRP, which I think everyone today realizes it doesn't mean anything anymore, and a trade allowance that's not real either because it's been propped up by the addition of a discount that the dealer would have given up anyway. And trust me, if you're already confused, that's the point. It's all a dog and pony show meant to get you to sign on the bottom line. Here's the only argument I ever get about the 1% rule. Customers will say, hey, I only care about the bottom line. I don't care how you get there. Well, I have an issue with that. Let's say you have a neighbor or friend or family member interested in your trade. How do you know if you should sell your trade to that private party if you don't know what the dealer's actually giving you for it? Let's go back to our original deal on that Escape. With our pricing policy, you knew exactly what that trade is really worth to us. If your neighbor offers you more, hey, congratulations, you've bettered your deal. While other dealers, and with them, you don't know how much discount is in your trade allowance. So they might be telling you it's worth $8,000 while they only put $6,000 real dollars into it. And even though your neighbor offered you $7,000, you don't take the deal because you were shown $8,000 by the dealer. I'm confusing myself now, but you could actually have bettered your overall deal by $1,000 had the dealer been upfront with you and shown you the actual cash value of 6 so that you knew to sell it to your neighbor for 7. Does that make sense? If not, email me through our website, www.maritimeford.com, and I'd be more than happy to show this to you in black and white. The bottom line is that I hate the game as much as you do, so let's just stop playing it. How does 1% sound? Thanks for your time, and you have a great week.
You've been listening to the Ford Advantage presented by Maritime Ford, home of the 1% rule. Don't forget to tune in again next Monday morning at 11:15 for another edition of the Ford Advantage with Steve.
It's time for Maritime. Maritime Ford Lincoln Mercury. It's time for Maritime. It's time to come and see the Maritime difference. To put the fun back in the buying experience. Maritime Ford Lincoln Mercury. Where you got a friend in us. Maritime Ford Lincoln Mercury. It's time for Maritime.